wonderful. This is Sarah, and we are here for chapter 1 of the Becoming Toxic Person Proof book club. And I was thinking I could match this book sometime. So this is the very first. You guys have probably seen my lives and everything else from literally all over. So this is the very first no, actually did a live today. This is the very first book club live and the very first day that I've been using my podcast room and podcast studio and live studio with perfect lighting and a nice background and all that kind of stuff. And you guys know I'm like, oh, I want to be so authentic. So we'll see how long this room lasts. But it does have lovely lighting and sound and a lovely background without the sun coming in on me. You guys have seen some of my lives and the sun changes because I'm used to sitting in front of this beautiful window as I do all these interviews. But it's been kind of funny because I'll be sitting there talking and all of a sudden it's like I have tiger stripes on my face. So this is to prevent that. But I miss all the changes already. So it's day 1. So we'll see how it goes. But I am excited to chat with you about Becoming Toxic Person Proof, Chapter 1. There is something so right with you, or protecting the one person you are stuck with for life. And I know this sounds so funny, but from birth to death, there is really only one person you are stuck with, and that is you. And that probably seems so silly because it's like, well, of course I'm stuck with me. Like, what does that even mean? But yes, you are stuck with you. And from birth to death, forever and ever. And we think everyone else comes in and out of our lives, and everyone else is supposed to come in and out of our lives. And we can kind of get really afraid and cling, whether it be to parents, children, lovers, friends, like, no, don't leave me. And not that I want people to leave you and not have healthy relationships. Obviously, I want you to have healthy relationships. But we have to start with the relationship with ourselves. Because everyone else is going to go away at some point. Maybe they go away for an hour. Maybe they go away for a year. Maybe they go away forever. But they are going to go away. And you remain. You are the one constant in your life. Forever and ever, you are stuck with you. Which can be a great thing, right? Some of you are thinking, no, but I want to be stuck with me. But hopefully most of you are going, oh, good, I'm stuck with me. That's awesome. And I want it to feel awesome. Okay? And one of the things I have been obsessively talking about and obsessively thinking about is self-esteem versus self-integrity. And after a toxic relationship, there's a lot of people looking to build their self-esteem, and we miss building your self-integrity. Okay, so self-integrity is self-esteem. You go, girl, you do this. I love my butt. I have great hair. I'm good at interviews. Those are self-esteem issues. I feel good about myself. Self-esteem. Nothing wrong with self-esteem. Nothing wrong with self-esteem. It's great to have good self-esteem. I want you to be connected with your strengths, for sure. But self-esteem is not enough, because the assumption, if self-esteem is the only problem, then the reason you are in a toxic relationship is because it's a self-esteem issue. Now, is that true all the time? Is that true sometimes? Maybe, yeah. Is it true every time? Well, what happens with toxic parents who have toxic children? Were those children in a toxic relationship because they had bad self-esteem? What about someone who was with someone who seemed amazing for the first year, and then things flipped on them and they changed? Did that happen because you or I have low self-esteem? Do we have toxic bosses because we have low self-esteem? Do we have toxic friends because we have low self-esteem? And I've been talking about this issue and really, really thinking about this issue. And I want you to imagine someone is drowning. Okay, so they're drowning on the, I'm pedaling, trying not to drown. And you're like, you go, girl. You're awesome. You're the best swimmer I know. And you say, oh, they're drowning. I'm trying to build their self-esteem. And it's like, I don't think the problem is that they don't think they're a good enough swimmer. Their problem is that they're drowning. They're tired. Somebody took away their life jacket. And I am so committed, I don't even have words to get people to start solving the right problems. When I started my work and helping people, I was shocked at how many people were just solving the wrong problems. I get into that in my book about codependency versus smart girl syndrome. You will never get what you want if you are not clear on what problem you are trying to solve. Okay? So, today I want it to be about the problem you solve, protecting the one person you are stuck with for life, which is chapter 1. Because for birth to death, forever and ever and ever, you are stuck with you. Okay? So, self-esteem is not enough to protect the one person you are stuck with for life. You need self-integrity. And self-integrity is saying, I am not going to ignore that intuition in my voice, that I hear. I am not going to pretend that didn't happen. I am not going to pretend that red flag is pink. I am not going to allow people to talk to me that way anymore. I am not going to take care of everyone else and always put, everyone else is allowed to have needs. Everyone else is allowed to have wants. Everyone else is allowed to be tired. Everyone else is allowed to have a hard day, but not me. No, I've got this, right? Which is actually pride. That's not humility. Because if you are, I have a dear friend like this. I love her so much. And she is so kind and caring. And if anybody else was tired or needed something, she would say, oh, you should take care of yourself. And then and then she had mono as an adult. A horrible case of mono. And I said, are you taking care of yourself? Well, I've got a lot to do. Well, I can't let people down. I said, you can't talk out of, you can. I want people not to talk out of both sides of their mouth, right? Which is like, you should take care of you. I should never take care of me. You should have boundaries. I shouldn't have boundaries. You shouldn't put up with that, but I'm going to put up with that. We can do better. And acting in self-integrity is saying, I follow my own advice. I don't tell other people to do the hard things, and me, myself, am not willing to do the hard things. And sometimes the hard thing is saying, I'm a human too. I need rest. I'm a human too. I need help. I'm a human too. I need to take care of me. Sometimes those can be the hard things because we have to admit that we need things, that we're not superhumans, that we have needs too. But you are the only person you were stuck with for life. The only person you were stuck with for life. And so many of the women I work with are good, kind, loving, giving, and forgiving. Now, they're often a little too kind. Their integrity said, I have to be nice to everyone, rather than I have to be nice and also see people for who they are and believe their actions when they tell me who they are. Maybe you are loyal. Self-esteem. Yeah, I stick with people. Self-integrity. I really am good at walking people through the hard times. And I also recognize that I'm not a superhero. Like, I can't save everyone. They have to save themselves. Now, I can be there for them and I can support them, but I cannot do the work of their own life for them. And it's inappropriate for me to think I can love someone so hard that they're going to turn into a completely different person. I'm not Glinda the Good Witch. I'm not the fairy godmother. Okay? That is what self-integrity sounds like. That is what self-integrity looks like. And right now I don't have any of my comments coming up. I know, let me make this big. Hello. I'll do a little comment. There may not have been any comments yet, but I want you to get really clear on the difference between self-esteem and self-integrity, because many of us were more loyal to other people than we were to seeing the truth. We didn't want to see it. We wanted to ignore it. We wanted to pretend it wasn't there. We want to pretend that red flag wasn't really red. We want to pretend that person was lying about them. We want to pretend, hi, Sylvia. Oh, good. So I'm glad I have the comments. I was worried I wasn't seeing them. And self-esteem, I'm great. I like my hair. I'm pretty. I'm nice. Self-integrity, I choose to do life with people who are kind back. I choose to help spread, I refuse to spread darkness in the world by helping people become more selfish, more angry, more committed to their addictions, more committed to their pain. And we don't think about it that way. No, well, they need me. Well, I hardly ever use the term enabling, just because I don't really like that term. I think it is, and I address that in my book. It's like, well, how many chances do you give someone before you cut them off? If it's a friend from 30 years, where's the cutoff? Where's the button? Where's the button that says, okay, finally, I'm done with my mother. I'm not enabling her behavior anymore. That is a huge decision. And enabling, it's a tough thing. I mean, I hate that word. But I do think it's more powerful to step into self-integrity and say, yes, I am a good, kind, loving, giving person. And I'm a good, kind, loving, giving person who's not looking to spread darkness into the world. I don't want to help people become worse versions of themselves. I don't want to help angry people use me as a punching bag. I don't want to lie for people who are, embezzling money. I don't want to lie to myself so that I don't have to address cheating. I don't want to lie to myself to pretend that flag isn't red, because I am stuck with me for life. Forever and ever and ever, I am stuck with me. So as you think about reading through chapter 1 and figuring out your self-journey to self-integrity, I really want you to start thinking about that instead of just thinking in terms of self-esteem. Because self-esteem, affirmation, okay, sticky note, you can do hard things, keep up the fight. Those are two of my affirmations a long time ago. I still believe in those things, but keep up the fight. Hi, Kimberly, keep up the fight. Keep, I can do hard things. Okay. There's nothing wrong with those. Believing you can do hard things is wonderful, but it's like two different things. I can do hard things, self-esteem. I am choosing to act in integrity to myself because I am the one person I am stuck with for life. I choose to be loyal and kind and forgiving. And I also choose to go into life with eyes wide open, not door closed shut, nobody can get in, but eyes wide open. I am looking for the actual truth. I'm not shutting things out so that I don't have to deal with them. I'm not shutting things out so I can pretend things are okay when they're not. I want to move forward in truth. I want to see people's actions and believe them so I can have the life and love I want. And I don't want, choose you, Jennifer said. And it's not just about a self-esteem issue. I do believe in confidence. That's great. But it also has to be about self-integrity and really working through that self-integrity piece, because I have an interview with Gary Thomas here in the next hour. He wrote the book When to Walk Away. So he's a faith-based, I don't know if he's a pastor, or I'm not sure if he's a pastor or not, but definitely within that circle of 50, 60-year-old white men that come from that conservative Christian circle, right? So definitely not your typical person who writes books or addresses things like toxic relationships. And he said this is what I want to talk to him about, that early in his Christian journey, he thought that being a good person meant assuming everyone was good. Oh, everyone's nice. I'll give all these chances. Turn the other cheek. It's not a big deal. I'm probably imagining things. I'll just work on me. And he had to step into wisdom and step into discernment, which said, okay, I have to have my eyes wide open. I have to see people for who they are, not just this blanket of everyone's good or everyone's bad. I have to have the wisdom to know the difference. Okay. Hey Kira, hey Linda. Yeah, like I'm purposely on purpose choosing me. I'm assuming that's one of Linda's affirmations. And if Linda and I were on a coaching call, I would say how? What does that look like in your schedule? What strategy is in place in your life? What goals? Oh, thank you, Jennifer. What goals are you going after, right? I'm just kind of picking on Linda, but being very much even like, okay, I choose me. I call that somewhat of an abstract statement. So when it is very clear, if I'm talking to Jennifer and I say, you choose you because you are creating an hour of time set aside to work within the Wonder Woman program. Okay. Or, okay, Kira, you're choosing you because you are, setting some time just for yourself, even if it's hard, even if there's kids in life and all that kind of stuff, but you are acting in integrity to your own growth and your own work and your own plan. And it happens at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, right? So this very, very concise, specific. If I was in your calendar, if I was in your life, it's like, this is my plan. These are my goals. This is what I'm moving towards. Okay. And the more specific you can be, if it's kind of like, let's say I say, okay, I'm going to build a business. It's like, oh, great. What kind of business? Well, I'm not sure, but I'm really going to build a business. I'm not picking on anybody. This is just what I do, right? This is just what I do, is get people really, really, really specific on what problem you're trying to solve. Because even if I say I'm protecting me, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm making sure I save for retirement? Does that mean I'm organizing my taxes differently? Does that mean it could be financially. I'm taking care of me. I'm setting boundaries with my mother. I'm taking care of me. I'm, purposely setting 2 days a week to sleep in. I'm taking care of me. I'm going to bed early 2 days a week, right? Yeah, SMART goals. Like as specific as you can be, because so much of the stuff out there is so freaking generic. Oh, work on your self-esteem. Oh, take care of yourself. Oh, self-care. And it's like, oh, none of those things are bad. But they're not specific. It's like, I'm going to build a business. What's your business going to do? I think I'm going to help people. Okay, how are you going to help people? Well, I don't really know. Well, who are you going to help? I don't really know. How are you going to find them? I don't really know. The more specific you can be, hi Kathy, the more specific you can be about what problems you are trying to solve, the more clearly you can align a healing strategy to, there was a lady today that I talked to, and she said, for the last 20 years, I've had my mother screaming in my head. I need to get my mother's voice out of my head. That is an incredibly specific problem to solve, that you can create a structure and a strategy to accomplish that goal. And then you're going to know, okay, I no longer have my mother's voice in my head. Maybe it's have a friend I need to have a conversation with. And this, she has a pattern of being ugly to me. I need to have a conversation with her and see if it's possible for us to be friends without her tearing me down. It's a very specific problem to solve. And the more specific you make your problems to solve, and the more specific you can make your healing strategy, you're able to protect the one person you are stuck with for life. And you develop this self-integrity, like, oh, I did it. I told myself I was going to do this and I finished. I told myself I was going to have that tough conversation and I did. I told myself I wasn't going to let people talk to me that way anymore and I set a boundary. That is so much more powerful than you're great, you're pretty, you look good in those pants, you've got this. And no one can ever take that away from you. When you have these goals and you accomplish them and you're like, oh my gosh, like I followed through for myself. I acted in integrity and followed through on myself. I protected myself. I told myself, no, I'm done with that. I'm finished. I'm not going to reach out to him again. I'm not going to reach out to her again. Okay? Then it gets very specific. And then you see movement. It's like, okay, I used to be this and now I'm this. I used to be this and now I'm this. And you start to really protect yourself. And one of the best ways to protect yourself is truly committing to having your eyes open and seeing what is rather than what you wish would be. And there was somebody in the group and they said something like, I think I made a mistake. I broke up with him. I'm still crying 2.5 months later. And the problem she wants to solve is to feel better. Okay. So in her head, because she's emotionally wrapped up in it, she said, oh, if I hadn't broken up with him, I would feel better. But she didn't feel good then, or she wouldn't have broken up with him. So the problem to solve is, how can I feel better? How can I move forward? Not how can I get him back, to kind of create that cycle. But if all in her head is, oh, I feel better, and she doesn't have a specific problem to solve, it's just grasping, there's no real strategy, then it's hard to protect yourself. It's really hard to protect yourself. So get very specific. And if you are good, kind, loving, giving, and forgiving, toxic people are going to want to swoop in and take advantage of your kindness. Doesn't mean you are doomed to have a lifetime of toxic people. Get a strategy to be kind without having your kindness used against you. Okay? Get a strategy to protect yourself. Get a strategy to commit to yourself so you're not ignoring those red flags. And I was the world's worst. Yeah, Kathy said energy vampires. When you read this chapter about personality, the lies I told myself, well, I'll just work on me. Well, I just like everybody, but I don't want to believe the worst in them. Well, I'm just hopeful. I'm just optimistic. I'm independent. I don't need them to take care of anything for me. I'll just do all the work of the relationship. Number 13, I had a heart bigger than my brain most of the time. And at one point in my life, I probably valued that. At one point in my life, I probably was okay with that. And acting in self-integrity is to say, I have a big heart and a big brain. And my heart is open. And then if your behavior shows me my heart shouldn't be open, I have a big enough brain and I'm not in a smart, I've developed that muscle. I've developed that, I don't want to smell like a unsmart issue, but I developed that muscle in my brain to act in self-integrity. I did not used to have that muscle. I just thought, I don't want to worry about that. I just, it's just easier just to assume everybody's good. And it hurt me, and it hurt me, and it hurt me, and it has hurt you, and it has hurt you, and it has hurt you. And I want better for you. I want better for your future. So you want to have, definitely, you can still have a big heart. Just have this self-integrity to say, I've got a big heart and a big brain. And I'm open until I shouldn't be. And when you show me through a pattern of actions that I shouldn't be, I'm going to act in integrity to myself to, shut that down, shut that behavior down, or create space in our relationship because you were no longer a safe place for me at that point. So someone was asking about trying to make someone love you. what is interesting, I'm doing right now a dating series with dating coaches that are male. So I had 4 or 5 interviews, I think, so far, and interviewing guys that are male. Um, and I ask every single one of them this question, how do you change a guy to get them to love you? And they all look at me as if I have lost my mind when I ask that question. But I'm very specifically asking that question over and over again because I want everyone to hear it multiple times. And what specific problem you're trying to solve. So in that case, if I set up the game where I'm not good enough if you don't love me, and that's the criteria. I am good enough if you love me. I am not good enough if you don't love me. Okay? You're really setting up the game where you lose, because at that point the self-integrity is out of your control. And you pass off all like your worth, your well-being, who you are, being good on, you pass it to another person and say, my well-being and my sense of worth and everything is yours to decide. And acting in self-integrity is saying, this is who I am. I am stuck with me for life, and other people circle around me. But I am steady. I am stable. I am stuck with me forever. And if you come in and we are a fit, we stay. If we are not a fit, you go. And it's not a rejection. If you think about it in terms of being a good fit or not, and a good fit for a stage of life that you are in, that can be really helpful. Really helpful. Like, okay, they're, not a good fit for this stage of life, or not a good fit in general. And there's also that steadiness of people come in and out of my life and I remain, rather than almost like I don't exist if you don't see me or if you don't choose me. Okay. Thank you, Kimberly. And that's the real difference. That's protecting them. Well, like, I am steady. I remain. Other people come in and out. If I don't exist, if I'm just a shell, and it's like, I need you to see me. I need you to see me. I need you to choose me. I need you to choose me. I need this. I need that. Then there's no solidarity here. It becomes all my choices, all my options, all my self-worth, all my everything is based on things I cannot control. So if that is really setting up the game for you to lose. And I really want you to hear that and think about that, rather than, Diana said, I always believe things happen for a reason, and I think I stay to figure out what it is. That would be covered in my blind spot chapter that's coming up, but there's a whole section where I did all these interviews. It asked all these questions and surveys on the blind spots that kept people staying longer than they should have, or I don't get to be the judge on someone's life if they should or shouldn't have stayed. But later on, they say, oh, I stayed too long. I wish I hadn't. And I say, why did you stay too long? And they would say these little blind spots, the little things they would tell themselves, such as, well, I'm strong enough to take it. No one else loves them. They don't have anybody else. Or, well, everything happens for a reason. So I need to stick it out. And I made a joke in the book, and it says, maybe the reason is you need to learn to stay away from toxic people. And it's a lesson in that. And it's so funny how we make all the reasons, I believe things happen for a reason, so I have to stay. Not, I believe things happen for a reason, so I'm supposed to go. It's like this, it's also something I'm fascinated with, like this really fascinating pattern of the lies I've done it too. The lies we tell ourselves. I'm sure I'm doing it certain things in my life right now. Because if anyone says they've figured it all out, they are not telling you the truth. So I'm sure there's things in my life at this time next year I'm going to say, gosh, here's a way I was lying to myself at this stage of my life. But I do find it fascinating that we find a reason. Those always affirm what we want anyway. Like we want to stay, so we find all these reasons to stay. Yeah, afraid to hurt them for sure. Kathy's got such a kind heart. Jackie said, if they don't appear to value me for my perspective, words don't count, that I'm not investing. And yes, actions count, words don't. Actions count, words don't. Yeah, so, or yes, I talked about that in chapter 1. Kira's talking about, well, I just got to fix this. Well, if I fix this, then it'll work. If I fix this, then it'll work. If I fix this, then it'll work. And so that's the smart girl syndrome, right? Well, I just need to work harder. I just need to work harder. I just need to do better, which is obviously addressed in a specific chapter. And then obviously I did the same thing, which you can see in chapter 1. Yeah, and so Diana's kind of talking about some pillars of traditional healing, and it's interesting when you see the people who've been through the Wondersoulman program and their comments, and then people who haven't. It's just really kind of interesting, the difference. So within the fear of rejection and abandonment, what I would say is you are empowered to reject and abandon them. So again, that is something we tell ourselves, oh, I can't think how our brains trick us, okay? Well, I can't leave them because I fear rejection. Okay, but if you leave them, aren't you rejecting them? They're not rejecting you. And then people find healing strategies to address their fear of rejection rather than taking action to leave a toxic situation. And I hope that's coming across the right way, because I know I haven't talked to Diana, so I hope that's coming across the right way, because we've all done it. We talk about this, I have trust issues. Oh, you have trust issues. So your healing strategy is to fix your trust issues. Have you been around someone trustworthy? No. Well, then why do you have trust issues? It sounds like you need to find people who aren't liars. Oh, yeah. That is a better problem to solve than trying to figure out how to trust people who aren't trustworthy in the first place. If you don't want to be rejected, leave them. If you don't want to be abandoned, leave them. You're not rejected and you're not abandoned. But there's a lot of people who are, a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of these things, and they're filling this world and filling this space with like, oh, well, you need to work on your trauma and your rejection, abandonment issues, or codependency issues, and it's like, well, yeah, or you could reject them. And so, oh, but then I know Diana's like, yeah, but it still feels like I would be rejected. It's like, yeah. It's this different problem to solve. It's very, 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 very important to figure out what specific problem you're trying to solve. Oh gosh, yeah. Jennifer talked about, and I want you to hear how specific this is. Okay, so when we're talking about problems to solve, okay, if we say something like, I want to work on my trust issues, that is very abstract. That is very ambiguous. Okay, because you probably don't want to trust everyone. Okay, so I need to work on my trust issues. Well, what does that mean? Who do you want to trust? Do you trust yourself? Is it about others? It's very ambiguous. Jennifer brought a very, very specific problem to solve. I think sometimes we fear the smear campaign of toxic people. Okay, so if we were on a coaching call, okay, so you're afraid they're going to smear your name or reputation. Is that a real fear, or a probably something that's not going to happen? From my experience with toxic people, I think that is a real fear. I would say yes, I think that's something worth preparing for. And then you can really develop a very specific strategy. Okay, so what are you going to say? What is your response going to be? How are you going to maintain your reputation? How are you going to work on what I call branding? So I work with my Wondrous Women on branding so that you are branded as an empowered person who left rather than the emotional expert armed with their, books on narcissism and or someone super victimy or the crazy one. So Jennifer can develop a personal brand then, and they do. Kathy said they smear you secretly regardless in a subtle way. Yes. Yes, I will never. When someone says I'm afraid that a toxic person is going to act toxic, I think that is a healthy, rational fear. But a lot of times it is something you can take action on. And if you get a really specific problem that you can take action on, you're going to feel like you get momentum and you're going to be able to protect the one person you are stuck with for life. But if you just spin on really abstract concepts, rejection and abandonment, trust, low self-esteem, you can be spinning in that forever and ever and not get any movement. Okay. So I hope that helps. Any other questions about chapter 1? So important to protect that one person you're stuck with for life. So important. You are always and forever stuck with you. You can be kind and not have your kindness used against you. You can be sweet and savvy. You can have a huge heart and then also have built the muscle of saying, okay, my door is either open or closed. My door is open when you exhibit positive, non-toxic behavior, and I close my door when there are red flags. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, I've got another interview coming up. 3rd or 4th one today. It's been a crazy day. But I hope you guys are doing awesome. So you'll have to enjoy the replay of this and check out Becoming Toxic Person Proof. Oh, my birthday's Thursday. So that Thursday is the Sharing is Caring campaign. So and I'll send out some information on this in the email and stuff, but everyone who buys a book, I will match the book and donate it to women's shelters or on April 1st, it's my birthday. So everyone who buys a book, I will match that and give away a book. And you will also get I went to St. Petersburg and recorded this book course. So it is made for if you have a friend and you guys want to work through it together, or you want to feel like you're working through it with me, you can have that video course. It's free, and work on your journey to becoming toxic person proof. And it's a really awesome thing. You will be able to share it with friends. Just the whole point. It's not a money-making thing by any means. I think people make like $2 off each book, but it's nothing with book sales. But it's really wanting to get the message out. And I've heard so many of you say, "Oh, I wish my friend would read this. I wish this." I've had people secretly leave the book at their desk at work, or leave the book where a family member saw it and they just happened to pick it up, or leave it at a restaurant and somebody picked it up. And those are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things. So I'm excited to do that Sharing is Caring campaign, and that's going to be on Thursday. And for anyone who gets a book and gives it away, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, for all of you who say, I want to help other people, get a book, give it away. If you don't have anybody specific to give it to, leave it somewhere that people can find it. Donate to a women's shelter, give it to a therapist, give it to a public library, and spread the message of hope. And I will be matching every book that is sold that day. I'll be matching and giving away to my own public libraries and women's shelters and all that kind of stuff, as we help the world together in becoming toxic person proof. So that's April 1st. Check out the group. There'll be more info on it. And April's a Aries too. Awesome. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, yes, Diana said she loves the story of my grandma telling my son to be kind to the bully. I was always taught that too, and I was just like, no. It stops here with this generation, and we just have to stop applying general advice to toxic people. What is useful if Diana and I are connecting is not useful if me and a toxic person are connecting. So the rules rules of engagement that I would have with Diana is not going to be the rules of engagement I have with a toxic person. I have to have the wisdom to know which set of rules I need at a certain time to both have a big heart and to keep myself safe, to be sweet and savvy. Okay, because there's a lot of people out there who are kind of teaching you, you don't deserve that, you don't have to put up with that, you da da da, which is a very different energy that I don't think we need more angry people in the world. So I would like to have more safe people in the world and just calm, confident. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I put up with. Oh, you are not a fit. Oh, you are a fit. Low drama, high happiness. And high peace. So I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Yes, it does not apply to toxic people. Have a great day.